This is the Title Tuesday game. Hans Niemann versus Vladimir Kramnik. The Cheater versus the Accuser. These guys are both seriously famous in the chess community right now because this guy, Hans Niemann, he has been accused for cheating so many times, and Magnus even resigned on the first move against him. Vladimir Kramnik, you probably already know, but he has accused almost every player, including Hikaru, for cheating. He has even recorded himself running away from the cheater when he's playing an online game.
Stupid, I'm not going to let you get the chance.
So it starts off with Vladimir Kramnik as white playing c4, the English, and we have the Anglo-Indian defense with knight f6, and we have knight c3 and e5, both spending pretty much 0 time in the opening. Hans Niemann probably pretty, if he's on stream, he's probably talking a lot, because he's a funny guy, but just talking about how he's going to get accused for cheating during this game if he wins, and even if he loses, he probably still will. We have a d5 and pawn takes, knight takes, bishop developing onto g2. Instead of taking and letting the queen be in the center, we just have developing the bishop. Now we have knight dropping back to f6, and Vladimir Kramnik just castles and plays a very solid opening. We have h6 now and d3. Now after bishop to d6, black can actually castle soon, and he looks like he has a really good position. They're both literally spending 0 time, and I don't know how, but Vladimir Kramnik is actually up on the clock. Normally he's not too high on the clock compared to the young kids that are really quick, but Hans Niemann plays a5, starting a queenside attack instead of castling, where I think castling would have been the best move. Yep, castling is the best move, but it doesn't really matter. It's like a blitz game, so it doesn't matter too much. We have b3 by Vladimir, and now castles by Hans. Bishop b2, eyeing on this diagonal towards the king, and this knight is gonna jump somewhere. We have this rook sliding over and knight dropping back to d2. Bishop to e6 now, targeting this pawn. It's pretty weak, but it's still defended by a couple pieces, just not any pawns. We have e3 by Vladimir Kramnik, and these pawns don't look too good. They look like they're going to be long-term threats because they're not really defended by anything. You can't really push them, and I don't know. It doesn't look too strong. We have queen to d7 now, and knight goes to e4. We have bishop dropping back to e7. Knight takes f6. Bishop takes back, and he just traded off a pair of knights and a pair of pawns so far, so it's not too bad. But the c pawn was traded off for the d pawn, which is a non-center pawn was traded for a center pawn, and we have queen to c2 now. We have rook to d8 and rook to d1. Bishop jumps to h3 now, a crazy move, attacking this bishop. If you take, I'll take, and my queen looks very strong on this square, and that's not what we have, but we finally have the knight jumping onto d5, attacking this bishop, defended by this bishop. It looks like if you take here, I can just take, if you take here, I have to take back, and you can take here for free. But why doesn't that work? Because of knight takes f6 check. Whoa, that's crazy, because now after you take back, I take here, and it's kind of equal. But if you don't play knight takes f6 check, and you just decide to take back the material, get here, and you're checked, and you're pretty much losing the game. I'm going to tell you what the second best move is. The second best move is king takes g2. So you have to see knight here, which he obviously saw. But, oh, is that what happens in the game? I thought that's not what happens in the game. That's exactly what happens in the game. Okay, so he saw it, and now you take back with the king. We have rook to e6, and pawn jumps on to d4. We have rook sliding over, making the Alekin's gun with the 2 rooks and the queen, sliding all on this one rank, but that doesn't really do anything. Maybe you can take, but then he takes back, and it's kind of well defended. We have rook slides over to c1, pawn takes, bishop takes, knight takes, rook takes, pawn takes, queen to d5. Not taking this pawn, but instead checking the king, moving the king, or maybe making him block with the pawn. We have queen and rook versus queen and rook. Vladimir Kramnik is down 10 seconds on the clock. We now have Vladimir Kramnik playing a little bit slower than Hans Niemann. Hans just pushes c6, and they're in a completely drawing position until Vladimir Kramnik makes this one tiny mistake. Queen to d2, and now we have king to g7. A crazy move that I would never see. I'd try like moving my rook, maybe get onto open file, maybe push the pawn somewhere. I don't know. That's actually a terrible move because it undefends this pawn from the queen. But like something like that, right? Like push this pawn. I don't know. We have a rook sliding over to e8. Now we have pawn to b4. Pawn pushes forward to a4. Queen drops back to d2. Rook to e4. Attacking this pawn with the queen and the rook. You kind of have to defend it. And that's what he did. But it's not too good because after queen to b3, you're threatening this pawn. And there's no real way you can defend it. If you try to defend it with the queen like he did in the game, you just play h5 and you're just going to create a landslide attack on this side of the board. That's not actually what he played. He played rook e2, which is still fine. It attacks this pawn, and it's trying to put some pressure over here, maybe doing something like this. We have rook sliding over to f1, defending this, but it's not going to work because that's a terrible move that Hans Niemann played, but it's not going to work because of rook a2, and you're actually losing this pawn. There's nothing you can do about it. He doesn't see it, though, and just attacks this pawn instead, and you can actually defend it with rook d1. That's the wrong move. If you play rook d1 here, you're still down a point and a half, but in a blitz game, it's very manageable, although you are down 12 seconds to 50, so maybe it's not manageable, but he plays queen d2 anyways, and it doesn't work out for him because he loses the pawn, and now he slides his rook over, and he's at 5 seconds versus 50 seconds against another grandmaster who's obviously very good at chess, even if he is cheating. He's still very good at the game. Plays queen f3, and rook slides back to defend. Pawn pushes, takes, pawn pushes, rook slides down. And at 1.6 seconds, you got to make moves pretty much instantly, and he just loses on time immediately. He's probably screaming about this guy cheating, but too bad. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.